Welcome back to another episode of yours truly, Trisha. I have Carm here, who is going to do an introduction because I will not do it justice. I just realized you are like a lot. You do a lot.
Yeah.
So tell me about you.
Well, many people will know me as a matchmaker and building a brand as a matchmaker, online dating expert, dating coach, which I am and I have been doing. But I also have been helping entrepreneurs and companies with their brand strategy, business development. This week, I'm actually covering press for Collision Conference Toronto, which is one of the largest tech conferences.
So crazy.
And tonight is an opening, yacht party. There's about 500, VCs and tech, men and women that are going to get together. And so I'm still matchmaking, but I matchmake people for business reasons. If you, want to sell a house, everybody kind of knows somebody, but because of my business, my job is to network and to get in the circles of people. So it's all about who you know and who you can help. So.
Can I ask, how did you even get into that? How does someone make that a job? And that's how fun is that?
It's funny because I'm coming out with a course soon, but I have this
project.
I have another project. So I might as well just share it. But I feel like it's called Flirtonomics. It's the economics of flirting. But flirting in the sense of getting what you want and helping others get what you want. Yeah. Because I feel like a lot of some of the challenges for singles is they don't know how to approach, or they don't know how to compliment. And I think flirting has that kind of, it's natural for some people, even the art of connection, right? Yeah. I was working with, the founder of Epic Talks, Melissa, and she created a protocol. I helped in that, curation of it. It's called One Connection Away, because you're like one connection away from a better life, a husband, a partner, a dream job, like whatever. And so in all of my life, I've always experienced like meeting one person can open the door to all these opportunities. And so
I'm going to be on this yacht tonight. That's all this is my connection, right?
Honestly. And guess what? That happened. Me hosting and doing the entire media of that boat happened in one phone call yesterday. So 24 hours, all of a sudden, I'm now doing the media for this yacht, as well as, future events that I've now partnered with Sean. Sean, he's amazing. He's the person who, he just dropped me off, who created this yacht experience.
That's wild.
And I met their company at Consensus in Dallas, Texas about 2 weeks ago.
Like, life is moving fast.
fast.
But talk to me about matchmaking.
Yes.
So what is the difference between being a matchmaker and a dating coach? Or are they the same?
No, they're not the same. However, I feel like in today's society and what matchmaking is moving to, I think a lot of matchmakers work with dating coaches.
Okay.
Because I could find you a match. So a matchmaker will help find that match. Actually create that introduction. Yeah. So Trisha, if you were single, you would rely on me to say, you need to meet John, right? Okay. And what did I have to do to find John? Well, my marketing, my website, going to an event, meeting somebody at a yacht tonight, right? Business function. So you would rely on me to introduce you to John. Now, when you meet John, let's say that you don't know how to flirt, or you haven't dated in a while, and like, I don't know what to say, I don't know how to dress, I don't know, how to act, or maybe you're shy or nervous. That's when you would need a coach, a dating coach, right?
Yeah.
Because I've had people say, should I text them now? How long do I wait?
Yeah.
They didn't really ask me a lot of questions, or people have their own stories and their own expectations in a date. And so they question what is good and what is bad, right? So that's where you need a coach.
Okay.
For that.
Okay. And then how does someone find, what do they do? How do they want to work? Do you just take on certain clients? Or how does it work?
Well, I tend to work with primarily single entrepreneurs.
Okay.
I would say that the age demographic of my clients would probably be 38 to up to 65. Okay. These are people who either are looking for first time marriage and want to start the family. And usually they're entrepreneurs that are later in life, 38, 45. I work so hard, everything is established, life is great, now I want to share it with somebody, right?
Yeah, that's a lot. That's happening quite often now.
A lot, yes. And even if I look at my circle of friends where I'm at, there's a lot of people. First of all, the divorce rate is over 50%.
Yeah, my closest friends are all like
they're all
marriages,
second marriages,
blended families, which is beautiful. It's a beautiful industry, but it was hard for them to find a second partner.
And so the good thing about dating post-divorce, hopefully you would have learned what didn't work, right? Hopefully. And now you can take that experience and come to someone and say, look, I'm clear on what I want.
Yeah.
Hopefully they've done the work, whether that's therapy. I don't know if the breakup was bitter, the inner work, right? And outer work.
True.
Sometimes, people are like, you see people after they're gone through a divorce, like, girl, oh my God, what did you do? Or guys need a whole makeover. They people lose themselves sometimes, right? And inside of their marriages. And so, direct me back. What were we?
We're talking about like how someone.
How do they work? So entrepreneurs, yes.
Yeah.
So mainly entrepreneurs. So if you're in a second marriage, then you're going to be more selective. Right. And that's where you're going to want to find a matchmaker or work with somebody that is networked that will introduce you to the kind of person that has a similar lifestyle, that is ready to date. Because the complaint is when they're dating online and they're swiping, they're not meeting the right people. Someone's nodding in the background. Or they're like, that's familiar, right? And so the other thing is they don't know how to screen properly. And a lot of times people I find are fearful of asking qualifying questions.
Right.
When I'm like, why would you be like, you're on a mission, right? It's like, it's not a job. So don't treat dating like a job because that's the other mistake that people do. And they lead with, like women will lead with their resume.
It's like a resume. Like, here, this is what I've done. This is.
Who wants to read a resume when you're going on a date?
Yeah, true.
Right? So when it comes to enticing or attracting, you want to create a story. You want to write your profile like a story, like a juicy book, like you want to turn the page.
Yeah, like what makes you want to pick up that book? And like,
so instead of saying something like "I'm funny," you would even say people say I'm funny. You could say something like, "I was voted the class clown, and usually I'll be the one making other people laugh."
Okay.
So you're saying how you're funny without saying I'm funny. Don't use a list of qualities. Write down how you behave and how you express that trait.
Storytelling.
Yeah, it's basically storytelling.
So
powerful storytelling, because you can have a boring story too, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm sure you've seen. I want to know. Like, okay, I have a lot of questions, but hasn't the landscape of dating changed given all the apps and just like the generation, like the way people date is different, and it's a little bit. I find that there's just more casual dating than there was before. Like, how do you navigate that?
Navigating dating has a lot to do with understanding the platforms, right? Number one, understanding your landscape, knowing the questions to ask.
Okay.
What are the tools that are available? I'm at Collision. There's technology for everything. In fact, people are using, unfortunately, ChatGPT to write answers and to create their profiles or to make them more compelling. And they're not even any of those things. You know what I mean?
Then you meet them. And
you meet them and they're not those things. So being able to accurately describe who you are and what you want is also important, because oftentimes it's like an ad. You're advertising, right? You're always selling something, right? Yeah. Whether it's the date that you go on, what movie you want to watch, what you want to eat for dinner, where to go. Someone is always persuading or wanting something to happen. So when it comes to dating, what do you want to happen? How do you need to show up? And so that's the other thing that singles will do. Many singles will look for someone who has the qualities they don't have, versus it's like, oh, my cup's empty, fill it, right? Where I'm sure you've done work and know that you have to come into the dating space with a full cup. Right. And understand, like, yes, we have weaknesses, we have flaws, and own those. Right. But know how to navigate those challenging conversations and always, be confident and be well informed. And I think today's people are getting dating advice from TikTokers. Yeah. And like everyone's a dating coach. Right?
That's what I mean. Like I see it all the time. So that's why I can't imagine, this day and age, it's changed. And you're getting advice from a 20-year-old dating coach on TikTok.
Well, Gen Z, and a lot of data around social media and around thought leadership are that people are actually trusting advice of those influencers. So you have to be really careful.
Yeah.
And then finally, we talked about this just before we came here, but what do people see when they Google you? Right? What is your presence like online? Whether it is TikTok, whether it is Instagram, even LinkedIn, right? If you're in the attraction game and you're single and you want to be intentional about attracting the right partner, you would show up more. You would use the tools of social media and digital connection to elevate your profile, to be more active. I've seen people write an ad for themselves.
No.
And I've seen influencers say $1,000 to the person who finds me a date or the guy I marry, and they'll do it. Another person will say, I hired a VA for, $1,000 a month, and she's checking all my messages. Like, what? Putting forward, we have digital dating concierge. So we do that. Why not? It is a full-time job to find a partner.
But it's not a job.
It's not a job, but for people, it isn't a job, yes. But you need to put the time and energy into it. It's not going to happen on its own. So that's where the investment of working with a matchmaker or a coach, you're utilizing their experience, their network, so that you can do the things you love to do, and hopefully their access. It's all about access, right?
Yeah.
If you're single and most of your friends are married or coupled, you don't have the luxury of calling your girlfriends who are married. Hey, let's go to where are we going to go to first of all? Right? So you've got to just really be diligent, utilize the tools, know what you're looking for. There's a lot to dating and matchmaking, really.
I was going to ask about some of the challenges that someone might face in today's society, but you kind of nailed it. Like, I feel like some of those tools, which are a great benefit, could also be a challenge for someone who is like, oh man, I got to get on social media. I got to put myself out there. Like, are those the typical challenges, or is it more the confidence and or is it just like, what is it?
Yes. It's like everything. The challenge is, a lot of challenge comes from the mindset.
Okay.
And from the frustration, right? If you're going into the dating process and you don't have the right attitude about it, and it is like, another bad date or whatever, it's really psychological. A lot of it's psychological, right?
Yeah,
because
you're
attracting what you're putting out.
Yes.
And so when you see these profiles, they're not, I don't want a cheater, I don't want a smoker, I don't want a bum, or I don't want, a gold digger. Well, why would you lead with what you don't want? Guess what's going to happen? You're going to have all those
You're putting
people.
it out there.
Exactly. Yeah. Instead, I'm looking for ask for what you want. I want someone who's stable. I want someone who's relationship minded. I want somebody who's confident, whatever it is. Or I want somebody who controls the room. Like, again, storytell on what you're looking for as well, versus listing all of those traits.
It's true. Mindset is such a huge. So I guess as a matchmaker, you work a lot with people's mindset and confidence. I'm sure.
A lot of it is mindset and confidence. A lot of it is reassurance. I'm it's like having your own cheerleader, beside you, because it can be challenging, even when it comes to fitness. And when I've worked with my fitness coach or a workout coach, and I'm like, I dread sometimes going to the gym. I know some people are so excited about it. There's days like I don't want to do it. But my coach, that's the reason why I have a coach. So they can kick me in the butt and
it's
say
the accountability, right?
It's 100% accountability. So part of what you're investing in is just having someone be accountable to your dating life. How many people have accountability on their dating life? How many people have dating in their calendar and actually have smart goals, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely? Do you put smart goals on your dating life? Probably not.
Yeah.
Most people don't.
Can I what is a range for someone to work with, like a matchmaker? Like, what is a range in, like a rate?
A rate. Everybody's different, but professional matchmaking is a higher level investment. So working with matchmaking or coaching can be as little as $1,500 all the way up to $50,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
The average matchmaker or fee probably in the Toronto area is probably $15,000 to $25,000, but that's over a period of 6 months or 12 months. So it's not like it's not for a short term.
Yeah.
And there's also based on the number of matches and results, right?
Okay.
So these are people as well. When you think about the investment versus their income and where they're at in life, like they put it this way: you invested in your education,
True.
you invest in your car.
That's a good way to put it.
Hello, like this is this is an investment in your education into dating. Like people spend way more money on their careers. I work with a lot of coaches. I've spent thousands of dollars working with brand coaches, nutritionists, business coaches. So for me, coaching is just part of, if I want to get better at something, I need to invest in it, right?
And that's like therapy.
It is.
Yeah.
Oh, I've spent a lot of money on that too.
Honestly, like it's such a different world for me. I've been in my relationship for 16 years. I still it's not easy being in a relationship, but it's also not easy being single out there. And like, what is one piece of advice you would give someone who is single, struggling to meet somebody?
I think everybody needs support.
Okay.
Yes. And so even inside of your own relationship, sometimes those challenges cannot be resolved with just the conversation between you and your partner. Sometimes you need outside help and support. You need a community.
Yeah.
Like in anything in any place, people gravitate towards similar circles and whatnot. If you're single and you feel alone, that's part of it. It's a loneliness epidemic. And part of that loneliness is self-inflicted, so to speak. They don't want to talk about that they're single. They don't want to be vulnerable and say, I need help in this area, right? So my advice is to get support, have conversations about it, do your own assessment, and be honest about if what you're doing isn't working, who can you reach out to? What can you do differently? And how can you have an accountability partner? Explore date coaching or work with a matchmaker, or get inside a community, right? Use your friends, use your family, the supportive ones, not the ones who are critical. Because a part of the challenge with some singles is they're getting too much advice from too many people. Yeah. Right? And like, why are you getting advice from somebody who you shouldn't be getting advice from?
It's true.
So trust in your own gut, but do the research. And I would just say look for support people and communities that can help you get closer to your goal. Don't do it on your own. I think, as they say, when you hear people say they suffer in silence, same with dating. A lot of people just get frustrated and don't get into conversations with other men or women that just want to bitch about dating.
Well, that's the sad part. I think that's common in Toronto. I don't know. I have
oh my God,
friends.
You too? Yeah.
There's no men in Toronto. I hear that all the time.
There will be men tonight in Toronto.
There's
always, the thing is, there's always men everywhere, but what are people doing most of the time? They're glued to their phone, right? They're not in the abundance mindset. That's the other thing, is that a lot of times people will cling on to that one person that likes them instead of dating multiple. I'm not saying like you need to have a date every single night, but you should date at least 2 or 3 different options until that person shows up and is consistent and gives you what you want. A lot of times people will just, it's momentum. It's dating is about momentum and having, you know what I mean? Like feeling like you choose. We all get to choose. But when you feel as if you're getting picked and not choosing, then it's a very different mindset. Oh, pick me versus like, I'm picking. Like I'm the abundance. It's abundance. Absolutely.
And so is that a common mistake you think? I was going to ask you, what do you think is a common mistake with dating?
Common mistake with dating is having that scarcity mindset. You know, even in the back of your mind, oh, there's no good men, or I can't find somebody like me. That's all subliminal.
True. And the mind is very powerful.
It is very powerful. Yeah. So I think that one of the challenges is people are not relating their dating life to a process or protocol or system that leads to success. Because you don't get a job thinking, oh, it's going to come to me, right?
Absolutely.
Like I hate the interview scenario, but really, do you show up at an interview like you rolled out of bed?
Yeah. Do you show up and say, I'm not going to get this job?
Exactly. Do you not even try? And do you hand out one resume to one company and wait?
Yeah.
No, hopefully you're intelligent enough to hand out lots of different resumes.
Totally.
And then I think the other biggest mistake is people being really strict on their list. And then having
their type.
Their type. Because I'll tell you this, in 32 years of matchmaking, I can't tell you how many people are with somebody right now that is nothing like their type, or that they thought was their type nothing like their type.
Wow.
They didn't want to date older. They didn't want to date someone with kids. They didn't want to date outside of their ethnicity. They didn't want to date somebody outside of Toronto. Like, to limit yourself to geography or to a height requirement, that's the other thing. Scientific.
Listen, no flabby daddy. If you're listening, my hubby is
that's his title, no flabby daddy.
Yeah.
So listen, it's okay. It's okay to want a no flabby daddy, because if one of the most important compatibilities is your view on health and fitness.
Yeah.
So what really matters? It's those values. I think that people are overemphasizing the criteria in partner that doesn't actually matter in long-term relationship. Yeah. What matters in long-term relationship are the key areas of compatibility. And if you don't know what they are, and if you don't know your attachment style, and you don't know what actually is required to make a relationship work, how can you be informed? How can you choose when you're basing it on your knowledge, on your belief, on TikTokers, on Instagrammers, without the science and research behind success? Why I love entrepreneurs is that, you know, there's a blueprint for everything. And when it comes to dating and relationships, there are better ways to do things. There are more efficient ways to do things. So if you want to fast track that approach, who do you need to contact? What do you need to know to get the results that you want? And the challenge is a lot of singles don't know what they don't know.
Yeah.
Right? But once you get interested in it, there is support, and you have to find the right people.
Interesting. And can I ask, what would be your ideal date?
My ideal date, you know, to me, the thing is, I think I'm a great dater because I'm curious about people.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you and I could probably sit here and talk all night.
Listen, we're going to have another date on the tech stuff. Like, this is already happening. Over some drinks, we're going to have it.
Yes, we're going to do that. We're going to talk about the tech stuff. Maybe tonight on a yacht. To me, the ideal date is where we're in an environment without a lot of distraction. It depends on the date. If it's like a second, third date or a partner date with your husband or someone you've been a long time, then I would have more of a fun date. And if you like to people watch, what do you mutually both like to do?
Okay.
Right? But if it's a date where you are trying to get to know somebody, I'll give a tip. You guys check out the 36 questions that lead to love. It was in the New York Times bestseller, and it says if you sit down, and this is good for couples as well.
Let me write this.
The 36 questions that lead to love. And see, as a matchmaker, I know these things. A lot of people don't know, right?
36 questions. Okay.
36 questions. Sit down with your husband. No kids.
I got any homework.
You do this, and let's talk about it at a later time. Ask those questions and see what you come out with. Because one of those questions, I'll give you an example, is if you could have dinner with anybody, past, present, or not future, past or present, who would it be and why? When they're in situations, how are they going to behave? Is that behavior and their choice aligned with you?
The main criteria for long-term relationship happiness, and this is...
That was one of my last questions.
Okay.
I want to know.
Okay.
I'm still in it. I'm surviving.
Well, Dr. Terry Orbuck is the doctor of love. She's done the longest standing couple research. I think it's 350 couples from over 30 years ago. That's still ongoing. So some of those couples who started as married are now, some are widowed, some are divorced, some are separated, some are remarried. So she's had this longest study. And the whole conversation and research is around happiness. Why are these couples who've stayed together for 30 years, what is the secret ingredient to happiness? And then why did these people who didn't make it, why did they not make it? What was the reason that broke up their marriage or whatever? So the compatibility factors are same beliefs on career, okay? So you both have to have similarity in career, similarity in family and kids, clearly, okay? Similarity in finance, so your views on money, similarity on health and fitness, and then the final one was similarity on religion. Politics wasn't part there, but religion, because there's a lot of people, as Filipinos, I was raised Catholic, strong Catholic. I identify more as spiritual now, not Catholic or maybe Christian, although I haven't been to church. Sorry, Mom. My mom is in 6 prayer groups, and she prays at 8, at 12, at so she has a strong faith. Exactly, the rosary, everything. So those are the 5 areas, and notice how sex isn't in there. And I'm not saying that sex isn't important or physical attraction isn't important, but it isn't the make or break for whether or not, the people didn't say, I'm happy because we have sex every week. Yeah. No, I'm happy because we share the same values, right? Even for the majority, although there's so many different areas of compatibility, those are the ones that really stand out. And not knowing this, people tend to prioritize, oh, we have to have the same hobbies, right? No, you don't actually have to have the same hobbies.
Or we have interest in music.
Yeah, right? Now, if they say food, well, food is tied to health and fitness. So that's where, you know, from a value standpoint, if someone's vegan or if someone's a meat eater or whatever, that could be an area of conflict, right? And I'm not saying that if you're not compatible in all those 5 areas, it just says that couples are more happier, right? So you're not doomed if you're not compatible there, but you are going to run into conflict, right? And then how you manage conflict is the second point of keeping that relationship together. And I'll share one last thing. There's what are automatic deal breakers, or knowing that your marriage or your relationship is going down the drain or headed for that? It's John Gottman's 4 Deadly Horsemen is what they call it, because it's contempt, criticism, stonewalling. I gotta find the 4th one for you, but think about it.
Leaving me in your hands.
Good.
I'm trying to keep my marriage alive.
No, but think about it. Criticism. When you're around somebody who's always critical, it's hard. You're walking. Yes. Stonewalling is really just silencing, right? Contempt, that is a big one, and I'll have to find the 4th one for you. But those. Think about those. If those are present always, that's going to be a challenge.
Well, I feel like there's so much to talk about, and I appreciate you coming in. Where can people find you, learn more about what you're doing, all your projects, all the stuff happening? I know you have a lot of things.
Just follow me every day. I'm just kidding. I post a lot of what I'm doing and events that I'm going on my Instagram, so you can DM me there. You can kind of see a glimpse of where I'm at in the world. LinkedIn is a place that you can reach me for business contacts, but really my website, carmeliaray.com. Best place to find me for connections, to fill out a matchmaking form, to inquire about any of my services. It's going to go through an overhaul soon. And you can reach me there. Thankfully, I'm the only one with Carmelia Ray as a name, so all my handles on social media is at Carmelia Ray, so you can find me anywhere on all those platforms. YouTube, TikTok, all of them.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Of course.
And please, can we please go out
we can
and talk more about tech stuff and the
Absolutely.